The Placebo Effect on Strength and Endurance Weightlifting Performance by Chloe Medalia. Placebos are documented as holding a key to improve physiological and psychological power, strength, and endurance, purely from an expectation that the placebo will increase one's ability and performance. The purpose of this study was to assess the placebo effect over 3 power and endurance training sessions. It has been documented in journal publications that the placebo effect mimics the action of the type of drug being consumed. Biologically, the body releases higher amounts of specific hormones or closes channels to certain neuroreceptors as the drug would. Professional athletes and novice gym users have made fitness improvements from placebos. Notably, less accomplished athletes have made greater gains from placebos than accomplished athletes. Also, the subject's belief about the drug affects the magnitude of placebo alone. Placebo, so looking at it on 2 sides. On the upside, in the fitness industry, placebos show the importance of psychological training, self-belief, and positive thinking. Untapped strength, power, and endurance can be reached without additional treatment, assisting sports people to go from their sub-maximum levels to maximum efforts. Literature review on placebos in sports performance by Beattie and Fode, 2009, states that the expectation initiates greater motivation and a more disciplined approach towards training and recovery. It was also documented in this review that subjects reported feeling discouraged and that their training efforts were compromised in hearing that the supplement was ineffective. On the downside, many journal publications have failed to have a no placebo group, leaving researchers unsure if changes in fitness can be relied on to be from the expectation of the placebo. Also, in clinical drug trials, placebos are seen as a nuisance, as they make it unclear if the drug is working or if the physiological response is from the placebo alone. The way that this experiment ran was there was 15 university students. They performed 1 repetition of maximum lifts for the bench press and the squat, and a maximum number of repetitions at 80% of their 1 RM bench press and squat. A within subjects design was utilized to investigate the placebo effect on upper and lower body skeletal muscle strength and endurance in a group of college-aged men. In an attempt to minimize the learning effect, participants were familiarized with each of the testing procedures: 1 repetition maximum bench press and 1 repetition maximum leg press, as well as maximal repetitions at 80% of their 1 RM max for bench press and leg press exercises. Following familiarization, baseline testing was performed prior to the testing sessions. During each of the testing sessions, participants were administered a sugar tablet. To initiate the placebo effect, prior to testing session 1, participants were told by an experimenter that they were consuming a supplement composed of a powerful amino acid compound that has been proven to increase skeletal muscle strength and endurance by 10 to 15%. Following completion of test 1, the placebo effect was removed by having the same experimenter tell participants another university just completed an independent study of the supplement and found the supplement to have no effect on strength and endurance. Participants then reported for the second testing session. So the number of subjects was 15. They were from Central Queensland University in Rockhampton. Consent was gained from the National Ethics Committee. The entrance criteria was that subjects had to do a food diary for 3 days prior. They signed statements that had currently been performing upper and lower body strength training for at least 3 days per week for the last 6 months prior to the investigation. They had to also have not consumed any ergogenic aids for the last 4 months, and agreed to refrain from any resistance training during the period of the tests. Our results. So looking at our results here, I'm looking at the differences in means across baseline, testing session 1 and testing session 2. It appears that the scores fluctuate as was expected. However, statistical tests show that the scores were not different enough in the squat at 1 RM and 80% of 1 RM to be significant. For the ANOVA test on the 1 RM squat, there was no significant difference, indicating similitude of variance across the test. There was a significant difference for the 1 RM bench press, with the alpha set at 0.05, p equaled 0.0006. Dependent t-test showed that the difference in the scores was between baseline and testing session 1, p equaled 0.0001, and between baseline and testing session 2, p equaled 0.01. There was no significant difference in scores for the 80% squat. There was a significant difference in scores for the 80% bench press lift. An ANOVA test with the alpha level set at 0.05 showed p equaled 0.0006, showing a strong difference in test scores. Post hoc dependent t-test showed a significant difference in scores from baseline to testing session 1, p equaled 0.0006, and baseline and testing session 2, p equaled 0.01. It was hypothesized that the placebo effect would increase weights lifted from baseline to testing session 2 and reduce the weights lifted from testing session 1 to baseline to testing session 1 and reduce the weights lifted from testing session 1 to testing session 2. This was seen for the bench press test for strength and endurance, but not for the squat test for strength and endurance. The placebo effect is a result of the subject's conditioning and expectations from the drug, increasing psychological motivation, and improving physiological adaptations to allow for better sports performance. Enek, Klosterhalfen, and Zipfel found the varying results experimenters have reported on the placebo effect are because of a variety of variables, such as the origin of subjects, personal expectations and situational factors, the location of the tests, and different design characteristics. Subjects respond differently to placebos based on their personal situation and belief. This could explain the consistency with the results for this experiment. Birdie, Koteles, Sabo, and Bodas of 2011 suggest that comparing testing sessions to baseline results may yield an improper relationship due to the learning effect. To avoid this, they recommend having a no treatment group to assess changes, therefore cancelling out any increase in weights from baseline to testing session 1 being from physiological adaptations. Beattie and Fode of 2009 reported subjects feeling disappointed to hear the drug was ineffective and discouraged, and their performance suffered because of this. In 2007, Colasantos, Reed, and Fitzpatrick assert that the placebo effect may have increased motivation in the first testing session, which created a greater training effect for the second testing session. This could explain why the second testing session results did not drop to baseline results. Research into the placebo effect highlights the importance of a positive attitude to get the best performance. If a placebo can improve an athlete's performance just by believing they are stronger, then perhaps encouragement alone can improve performance. As coaches, using placebos on their clients may prove to be unethical as it goes against the coach-client relationship. Coaches may want to add psychological training and checkups with their clients to ensure they are feeling strong mentally. Thank you very much for listening.